Hello, sweet souls, and welcome to day 6 of your devotion journey. Today, we are going to talk about creating. So, that is in relation to consuming. So, we're going to talk about what that means, creating versus consuming with everything in your life. But if we are devoting ourselves to something as we are consuming it, as we are consuming the moment or the whatever the activity is, and how we're choosing to devote ourselves, then we're living in the past or the future. We're living in some very stagnant or stale place. And so the devotion becomes stale or stagnant. It's not alive. It's not truthful. It's not real. Nothing in the illusion is real, but it's not authentic, you could say. It's not going to help you create whatever it is that you want to create by devoting yourself to something. It is going to yield results, and we're going to talk about that in a second, that are going to be not fulfilling for you. And even as you devote yourself in the moment to something, if you're consuming it rather than creating, you won't be fulfilled either. So I'm going to share my screen with you now and just talk a little bit about the difference between consuming and creating, and a little bit more on how that relates to our devotion practice. Okay, sharing screen. Okay, so as you can see, we have two columns here. One is on the left, we have consuming, and on the right, we have creating. So just a note is that you can do anything in your life. You can consume it or you can create it. You can consume with it or create with it. So the action does not matter. It doesn't matter what you do. It's only the intention. It's only where am I coming from. So for example, you could be an artist and you could be creating. Maybe you're devoting yourself to creating more artwork, letting that divine space in you, that source, move through you to create your artwork. Well, if you are creating the artwork from a place of, what am I going to get out of this? What have I done before that's worked so that I can do it again so then it will work? Like you're just totally in your head. You're doing something with the intention of getting somewhere out there that does not exist. And so you can have created a beautiful piece of art, but you just consumed it. It's just a piece of consumerism because you didn't actually come from a place of authenticity, of rawness, of realness, of what in this moment is real for me, is true for me. And it may be something so different than you've ever done before, right? So this is, or you can create a piece of artwork from that space of pure, just intention of letting whatever wants to come through. It's the same thing with, I often get the question about consuming like food or alcohol or, things like that in life. And it's the same thing. You can create with it too. You can have this beautiful experience of enjoying your favorite drink, a glass of wine, a whiskey. I love whiskey. That's my favorite, or bourbon or whatever. I just love the taste of it. But instead of, I'm not just pounding them back to consume, to like numb out or distract myself, or, it's creating an experience for myself and for those I'm with. And I'm enjoying every sip and the taste and, all of those things. So it doesn't matter what you're doing. It's just, where am I coming from when I do it? What is my intention? So let's look at this chart for a moment. This consuming energy, we do things for, when we're consuming life, we're doing it for gratification. And by the way, this is how most people live most of their daily lives. This is the default, right? We do it, we want gratification, like instant gratification. We want relief. We want relief and distraction from our lives. That's why we do so many things. It's just not a default mode. We're reacting to something, right? So we have Maybe we have a trigger or an emotion, and instead of responding and really investigating, we just react. We're trying to get something, right? What can I get out of this? What is life going to give me? Like, that's most people's kind of default, is what am I going to get out of life? What else can I get out of life? Can I just squeeze everything out of it? There's a lot of wanting when you're consuming, because it's never enough, and it never will be enough, ever. It's a bottomless hole pit of non-happiness, of non-satisfaction. And then with consuming, there's a lot of so much like doing, like I have to make this work, I have to try. And it's not easy, and it doesn't feel good usually. We're just doing it to get somewhere. So that's consuming. Creating is full of, we do it for satisfaction, of course, because we actually do get intense fulfillment. We are intensely fulfilled when we're doing something or being from who we are, from a certain place, from our calling, from knowing we are God, etc., from presence. So there's a satisfaction, there's joy, there's expression, right? We are creators. You are the creator. You're here as an expression of God, of source, of all that is. And so when you're creating, you're really expressing that. And you know what it's like. You know it feels good. Even when you're having an amazing conversation that you're creating within the conversation, it's not dull. You're not just talking about the past or rehashing things or saying the same things, or, you're really like, what wants to come through, in this conversation? How can I listen to this person really presently in the moment? Right? So there's lots of expression. There's lots of freedom. There's pure freedom, because there's no thread of attachment to the past or the future. There's no anywhere else. Right now that when you're coming from this creating space, it is the best, most satisfying place you could ever be, ever. So there's freedom. You're not tied to anything. You want to give, right? We're here. We naturally want to give. We want to create for the world, to give. And we don't care when we're creating, we don't care what the outcome is. We don't care what the result is. We're just creating. And of course, there's intention. This is a few days ago, we did the intention. What's my intention right now? Where am I coming from? Oh, is that something I want to do? Or am I just doing it to do it so then I can eliminate it, right? And when we're creating, we're just being like God. We're just being who we are. And we're taking action from that place. So this isn't a passive state. This isn't a, sitting in a cave. And that's great too. That's definitely some people's journey in this lifetime. But I imagine you are here right now because you are here to give value to the world and to the people you're here to serve. So from that being fully in the creating moment comes the action effortlessly. It doesn't mean there's no effort. So that's the next thing we're going to look at here is when you are creating, these are the things you must have a great relationship with. Uncertainty, right? When we're creating with our lives instead of consuming, there shouldn't be any certainty. We can't know what's going to happen because it's not something that is scripted or planned out or that we've done before. We have this strategy in our mind that, if I do this, this is going to happen. You can do that. You can do certain things to get an outcome or a result that you've had before, but then you're just consuming it. So if you want a magical life, and this is something my mentor says all the time, Anurag, he says, everybody wants a magical life, right? But they also want certainty. They want to be sure. They want to have all this security, which is totally an illusion anyway. But you want to have all this. And so you're like, why is my life not more magical? Because you are living to get somewhere that you'll never get, that doesn't exist, because you want some answer, some certainty. So when you're creating your life, there's no certainty. And it's so cool. And it's so fun. And it's so exciting. And you get to prove to yourself over and over and over again that it works, that it's okay, that you're totally fully free, and you're protected and you're guided and you're loved and all those things, right? But just saying it and just knowing, yep, I'm an infinite being, and I'm protected, I'm guided, all of that, like this, the knowingness of who you really are, which is not this human body and all these conditions and limits and lack and fear, and actually living it, so different, guys, right? That's why a devotion practice is so important. Devoting yourself to the truth. There's no substitute for that. You can't bullshit through this. You can't bullshit yourself into creating a life. You just do it. So uncertainty, okay, effort. Have a great relationship with effort. Often people think, oh, if you're in flow, if you're like just following what, intuition and source and all of that, then there's no effort. Well, that's not true. Of course there's effort. The reason why there's effort, and the effort actually is much more enjoyable. It's not hard. If at first it might be, because you're on a default mode of consuming life, right? So everything you do, every decision, like every moment, you're like consuming. And so to remember and to be intentional about creating your life takes effort, right? It's like a new muscle. It's a new habit. It's something you're doing that's new. And so at first there'll be more effort. And then, at least for me, in my experience, the effort is less and less on having to remember, where am I coming from? What's my intention? And then it does become easier and really flowy and all of those things. But at first, it's like, oh yeah, okay, wait, 50% of my day was great. I was creating. And then there were all these other things that I know I wasn't paying attention, and on and on and on. And by the way, this doesn't mean that you can't intentionally consume with your life, right? Anything in your life. Sometimes you do you're not like, oh, I want to create this great experience of watching a movie and popcorn and all of that, but I just want to like consume it and numb out. That's great. Just be honest with yourself. Be truthful with yourself. Be intentional. Okay, right now I'm going to devote my time and energy to vegging out. Okay, cool. Nobody's judging you. I'm not judging you. And then having a great relationship with failure, which, as we know, failure doesn't even exist. It's just the opportunity to learn, to grow, and to expand. But be okay with something not landing, not working out, people being like, you're crazy. What are you talking about? No. Be okay with a ton of no's. Be okay with people laughing at you, or whatever your equivalent of that is, or saying you're stupid or that's stupid or whatever. These are the people that actually create the life they want. They don't give up because somebody out there said, no, that's not cool. That's not okay, because you will always find somebody to do that. Always. So you can't care about what anybody else says. So just go out there and try everything that feels good and that feels aligned in the moment, because anytime you're doing true work, you're truly devoting, the outcome is always valuable. Always. It will never not be valuable. Which leads me to the no attachment to outcome. If you're creating your life, you cannot attach to anything that's going to happen. And I mean anything. And again, you can take baby steps. This doesn't have to be all at once, all at the same time. That's it. No attachment. I'm going to go deeper into that tomorrow on day 8. No attachment to outcome. Okay, guys. So let's see. Action steps for today are to really take a look at where in your life, right, you're consuming versus creating. Maybe take this whole day to check in. Where am I coming from? Am I coming from my devotion and what I want to devote myself to, and truth and alignment and who I really am? Or am I trying to get somewhere? Just really be honest and share over in the Facebook group. I'd love to hear how this exercise is for you. I mean, this isn't an exercise, this is a way of life, but it does require effort and commitment. So I look forward to seeing how it goes for you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Love you so much. Okay, bye.